It's kind of like getting a lower back tattoo. It might sound like a fun idea when you're doing it, but trust me, you'll regret it later on. Hey guys, my name is G.P.S. and welcome back. Today we're doing a good old-fashioned what's in my bag video with my beloved Kelly 35, which is a bag that I have recently gone back to using because pretty much all year last year I didn't really reach for any of my more precious bags. So this year I'm making more of a commitment to myself to enjoy and take advantage of the pieces that I already own before investing in anything new. And since I already had this bag out, all ready to go packed up because I have a couple of errands to run later today, I thought I might as well sit down and share with you everything that I lug around in this. So if you want to get a peek inside of my bag, then please keep on watching. I did talk about this bag quite recently, but in case you didn't see that video of mine, this is my Kelly 35 in the so-called return structure, which is the more slouchy style of Kellys that Hermes makes, in Togo leather in black with gold metal finish. And the last time I talked about this bag, I got a couple of questions asking me my thoughts on the Birkin and the Kelly 40 and why I chose to go with a 35 instead of a 40. And I'm personally not a huge fan of the 40 size by Hermes. And this is coming from someone who used to almost exclusively buy bags in size 40. My very first Birkin was a Birkin 40 in black Togo, which was my dream bag. And when I received that bag, I thought to myself that that's going to be it. From that point on, for the rest of my life, I will be collecting Birkins in size 40. Until one day, out of the blue, I was offered a Birkin 35, which was just the biggest game changer. Once I had a chance to really play around with that bag and have a look at myself in the mirror, I came to realize how incredibly overwhelming Birkin 40s looked on me. With my frame and my proportions, Birkin 40s just basically swallowed me, which I think is one of the toughest parts about buying Hermes bags, is that in most cases you don't really have a chance to truly look at the bag and get a feel for what it's going to be like owning it, because you're kind of requesting a bag blindly. You cannot go into a store and request to see all of their bags in all the sizes that they come in. So I understand that it can be quite tough, but I'm really glad that in the end I discovered the size of 35. And from that point on, I completely stopped buying 40s, which I think is quite tough, especially for a man, because if you're a man who's into Hermes, you're constantly told that you should automatically go for the largest size that the bags are available in. Even though I find that most people would be much better off with a bag in size 35 than in a 40. Unless you're really tall, I think you'll have the exact same experience that I had, that Birkin 40s are way too heavy, way too large, and way too overwhelming on most people. Obviously, if you love an oversized bag look, by all means you go for it and enjoy it. But I'm really glad that I discovered size 35, and that's my preferred choice for bags at this point, both in a Birkin and in a Kelly. And this is my Kelly 35, as I mentioned, in Togo in the return structure, which is a bag that I've had in my collection for, let me think, probably around 4 or 5 years. But it's obviously still in great condition because I do try to take as good care of it as possible. And obviously one of the biggest things that you can do for bags that are made of a softer leather, that are made in a more slouchy structure, is to use an insert inside of them. And the insert that I use in pretty much all of my bags at this point is the 7RP inserts, which I have an entire in-depth video on inserts, what are the best inserts out there, what are the differences between different inserts, which I'll make sure to have linked up here. But I do use a 7RP insert in pretty much all of my Togo and my return bags. So let's go ahead and talk about it. And the insert that I have in here is obviously my 7RP insert that is specifically made for a Kelly 35 in the return structure. Because if you buy one of 7RP's inserts, they will not only ask you about the style of the bag that you're buying it for, the size of the bag, but they also want to know if you're buying it for a celly or for a return bag. Because if you're buying it for a return, the insert has to be slightly different, and I find these to be perfect to give just the right amount of support to all of your bags that have the tendency to go a little bit more slouchy over time, which I personally would like to avoid. And I think it's really these inserts that have kept all of my more slouchy return bags in good shape. I've been using these inserts for, I want to say 5 years, around 5-ish years, and I have been extremely happy with them. And I do still have a discount code with 7RP in case you want to give them a try. I believe it's G.P.S 30 for 30 euros off of one insert, or G.P.S 70 for 70 euros off of two. But I'll make sure to have it linked down below, but I'm pretty sure that's the discount code in case you want to go ahead and use that. But this is my insert, and I don't keep anything else inside of the bag, even though larger Kellys do come with 2 pockets on the inside. So the pocket that you have in the front is split into 2 here. On the Birkin, you only get 1 large pocket that goes pretty much, not all the way through the bag, but a pretty sizable pocket. And then in the back, you also have a zip pocket, which I honestly don't keep anything in. I try to keep everything inside of my inserts, so in case I have to move bags, I can just take my insert out of one bag and put it into another. So this is what the insert looks like in case you've never seen an insert or a 7RP insert. And my favorite feature is actually right here on the outside, which is a passport holder. And you may not think that it's important or it makes a difference, but let me tell you that this is my favorite feature about 7RP inserts. The fact that they have this little band on the outside means that your passport or your boarding pass can never get lost. If you are running through an airport from one gate to another, or if you're trying to check in and you're lugging around your suitcases and your luggages, the last thing you want to be worried about is where your passport and your boarding pass are. So the fact that you have this here and you have easy access to it makes the biggest difference. And I actually use this to store my phone when I'm not using my bags for traveling. I usually just slide my phone in there, so I always know that it's safely just slid in there. And then this is what the insert looks like from the top. It is super well organized. All of 7RP's inserts come with a huge amount of pockets all around the insert. And by the way, this is not a sponsored video by 7RP. I just really do love their inserts. So this is what the insert looks like when it's completely full. And let's pull out the first thing, which is my scarf. It has been really, really cold recently, so I have been carrying my Hermes Cashmere scarf with me, which is just their regular muffler from the men's collection, which is actually double-sided. So on one side it's black, on the other side it's like a charcoal dark gray, and I absolutely love this. It's super lightweight, but really warm, really soft, and really cozy. It's great to have an extra layer with you, and I love these scarves because they're really, really lightweight, but really warm. So if you're someone who is always cold, it's good to have one of these with you because it really doesn't take up too much space and it's really light, but I think it might be one of the warmest scarves that Hermes makes. Okay, what should we do next? I'm thinking maybe let's do this, which is the raincoat that came with my Kelly. All of your Hermes Birkins and Kellys and more precious leather bags from Hermes will come with a raincoat, and I always have these inside of my bags. Whenever you take these out, I can guarantee that you'll get stuck in a thunderstorm with a Birkin or a Kelly. Obviously, these will not protect your bags completely. You still have to be careful, but I still like to have these inside of a bag. Not only in case I'm out and about when it's raining, but it's also good to put these on if you're in a crowded restaurant or, I don't know, somewhere where you feel like there might be a slight chance of someone spilling something on your bag. Obviously, that's not the case nowadays. We're not going to crowded restaurants, but it's good to have these inside of your bag just in case. Okay, what should we pick next? Let me see. Let's do maybe this one next, which is my Ulysses notebook from Hermes. These are, in case you've never seen these before, these are basically a leather notebook cover that you can buy, and then you can also buy the refills or these little inside notebooks for these specifically from the brand. They come in a few different versions. I usually just get the ones with the lined paper. And then you can refill these every once in a while depending on how quickly you go through one of these. But I absolutely love having some sort of a notebook with me. I'm really old school when it comes to writing things down. I find that if I write something down, actually write it down, not just put it in my phone, it's more likely that I'll remember it. So I always like to have something like this with me. And I love the Ulysses notebook. It's a really simple design. Obviously, it's all about the leather that Hermes uses. And you can also have these monogrammed. So mine has my initials, which is obviously G.P.S. And this actually reminds me to tell you about getting your bags monogrammed. So pretty much anything you buy from Hermes, you can get your initials engraved into as long as it's made of leather. And if you're going to get a bag monogrammed, there are a few different options you have. You first of all can choose the size of the monogramming, and then you can choose how you want the monogram to appear. So you have the option to choose the monogram to be in the same color as the hardware of the bag, or you can get something that is called blind embossing, which means that they just use heat instead of using colors. So if you're going to get a bag embossed, you do have the option to choose the color, which is either the color of the hardware or you go for blind embossing. And then you can choose the placement. If you're going to go for getting a bag embossed, you can either choose to go underneath the hardware here on the flap. You can go underneath the twist closure, or you can go with your initials on the back of the sangles. None of these are options which I would go for. If you're going to get a bag embossed, please don't do it on the actual bag. Hermes does offer the option to get the little clochette embossed, which is the little key holder that comes with the look of your bag. I personally would never get anything put onto any one of my bags. It's kind of like getting a lower back tattoo. It might sound like a fun idea when you're doing it, but trust me, you'll regret it later on. So it's not something that I personally would do. Most of my bags are embossed, but they're all on the little clochette that they come with instead of the bag. Because if you ever get bored of, I mean, it's not like you would get bored of your initials, but if in case you don't want to have it shown off, the clochette you can always take off. You can always order a brand new clochette, so it wouldn't be an issue. But if you're going to get your bag embossed, I know it's free and I know it's easy to go crazy with it, because trust me, when I used to shop at the Madison Avenue boutique, because they had an on-site craftsman, anything I would buy, I would get immediately embossed. So I know the feeling of getting carried away with it, but please don't put anything on your bag unless you are 1,000% sure that you're going to love it. I think it's really likely that you'll regret it, especially if you ever want to sell your bag. I think it is going to decrease the price of the bag and the value, not to mention the fact that you might not want someone to be carrying a bag with your initials on it. So that's just a little piece of advice, but you can pretty much get anything embossed by Hermes. Next up, let's do this one next, which is this little pouch that I have in here as a little catch-all. Again, this is from Hermes, believe it or not. But this is not a pouch that you can buy on its own. This is one that came with, I believe this came with the large coffee that I purchased, which is one that came out a few years ago, and I think it was released to hold iPads. I don't think that's what it was advertised for, but it happens to fit a mini iPad perfectly, which I don't think is a coincidence. I have never once used that mini coffee. I get the idea, I get the design, I like that they are playing around with their original genius idea of the coffee, but it's really not functional at the end of the day, unless you're going to use it for an actual iPad. But one thing that came with that coffee was this little inner pocket, which is perfect to have inside of other bags because it's extremely thin, but it fits a lot. So I just have my passport in here and some other documents because I'll need these when I'm running errands. So it's just good to have everything in one pocket like this. And another great thing about this is that this fits perfectly into the front pocket of your Birkin. So if you're ever out and about with your Birkin and you need an additional zip pocket, I'm not saying that you should buy the coffee just so you can have this case, but if you do own the coffee in the larger size that comes with this little pocket, you should absolutely give it a try and try using it in other bags as well, because it happens to be the perfect fit for the front pocket of your Birkin. And this, in case I didn't mention, I'm not sure if I did or did not, but this is in Epsom in the color gold. And I do have another piece right here in the front pocket in the same leather, in the same color, which is my Bastia, which is also in Epsom in the color gold. And this is a piece that I bought, I want to say 6-7 months ago at this point, and I have been carrying this around with me in every single one of my bags because I know that this has a huge cult following. So many people out there absolutely admire this. But believe it or not, I have really not been able to take advantage of this. I really don't get the hype. Maybe it's because I don't really use cash. But I've been carrying this with me in every single one of my bags for the past 6 to 7 months. And I have only ever had one chance to use it, which was really thrilling to be able to finally pull this out and take advantage of it. But other than that one experience, I've never had a chance to use it, which might be completely my fault. So if you've been thinking about adding the Bastia to your collection, I would recommend that you go for the Kavi, which is the same idea and the same concept, but it's just a little bit more elongated, so it would actually fit a card, whereas this one you cannot fit a card into. Maybe you could use this to store other things like hairpins and earphones and things like that. I tried that before, it didn't work for me, but I still carry this with me. I'm going to carry this as long as I have cash in here, and then once all the cash is gone from here, I think I'm going to just give it a rest because it has really just been taking up space in my bag without me really being able to enjoy it. Okay, we're getting to the bottom of this, and maybe let me do this next, which is face mask. Really important to have a face mask with you. And I do actually have a really hard time getting on with reusable face masks. I prefer the surgical single-use face masks, but I've been trying not to use them because I know how wasteful they are. And the mask that I've actually had for a while is this one from Off-White that I got a couple of years ago, specifically for flying, because I've been flying with a mask on for years. And I never thought this would come in handy as often as it did, but this is the one that I have been carrying with me. It's just a little bit more special than just having a regular face mask on. And it makes me feel better about putting this on every time, just knowing that it's a little bit of a luxury experience. Next up, let's do these two things on the side. So I always have lip balms with me. If there is one thing I'll never be without, is lip balm. I just hate the feeling of cracked, dry lips. One lip balm that I have been trying to go through and use up is my Hermes lip balm, which is just their untinted regular lip balm, which honestly I'm not the biggest fan of, so I have been trying to use this up. The packaging is beautiful, but it's not nearly moisturizing and hydrating enough for me, so I have been trying to go through this. And I do have, okay, quite a bit. I didn't think I had this much left, but yeah, I still have quite a bit left in here, so I just carry this with me hoping that I'll use it up at one point. But then my absolute favorite that I have been raving about for a long time is my Glossier Balm.com, which I always have one of these either in my bag, in my pocket, in my jacket. I probably have like 5 or 6 going at the moment of these. My favorites are, I love Rose, which is this one. I have the mango one in my bedroom. I think I have the cherry one in the kitchen, and then I have another rose in maybe in another jacket of mine. I'm telling you, I have so much of these going. And then the only 2 things that we have in here left are some sanitizing wipes, obviously really important. And then there's something else in here. What's this? Oh, okay, this is a little 7RP care card. Yeah, it tells you how to wash your insert because you can actually put these in the washing machine. I usually just honestly give these a clean with a vacuum cleaner. Usually just go through this with a vacuum cleaner on the lowest setting, which I'm not sure if you're supposed to be doing, but that's what I've been doing. But I know that you can actually put these in the washing machine, so it's good that they give you a little care card. And then right in that pocket, I have some sanitizing wipes. And I love how organized you can truly make your bag with these inserts because you have so many pockets all around the edges. So there really isn't one spot in this insert wasted. And then the last thing that I have with me is obviously my Kelly pocket, which has been my most used small leather good for the past year. Even when I use a larger bag and a larger wallet, I still have this with me because I have all of my most important cards in here. I love the way it works, I love the functionality, I love the design, I love how easy it is to use and organized. It fits a crazy amount of cards. Let's count how many cards I actually have in here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
10 cards right now, and I still have some space left in there, which I like to keep a little bit more space in there in case I want to take some cash with me or in case I need to throw my keys in there. This is one of those pieces that if you don't know where to start your Hermes collection, or if you've been looking at different wallets and you don't know which one to go for, I really cannot think of anyone who wouldn't be able to take advantage of and enjoy this, because if you have one of these pieces, you're set, you don't need anything else. Maybe down the line, once you have one of these, you can invest in a larger wallet, maybe a Kelly or a Constance wallet, one that you can use on its own as a bag. But even this I've used as a belt bag, I've used as a little shoulder bag. I have an entire video dedicated to all the different ways of styling this. So in case you're interested, I would definitely check that out. But this is a piece that I have been absolutely loving, and I continue to do so. And this is it. This is everything that I have inside of my bag. Surprisingly, the Kelly 35 actually fits a crazy amount. And the fact that I have an insert in here really allows me to make it even more organized. So now I'm going to go ahead and put everything back in here. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I would love to know what are the things that you cannot go without. For me, it has to be lip balms and obviously a face mask nowadays. Very important, but hopefully we won't have to wear a face mask for long, but lip balms are still going to be things that I always need with me. I would love to know what are your essentials, things that you always have inside of your bag. And I believe this video will be going live on Valentine's Day, so if you're watching this the day this goes live, I hope you have an amazing, beautiful Valentine's Day. And if you enjoyed this video, then please make sure to give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.